Welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways, Coyote in the Highlands. We're doing another video this morning. It's a little bit chilly because of the smoke, as I mentioned before in a previous video. The smoke and the windstorms and everything just brought the temperature down. It's really nice that we're just on the very, very edge of summer here. It's the very end of spring, and I've got a low in the 50s. It just cleans everything out. The air is also clean again, so whatever California fire is going on is I've gotten rid of the smoke bowl, so that'll make my lungs happy today. Let's talk about longevity a little more. This is, whoa, excuse that camera, that I kicked you. I kicked the tripod. That wasn't personal, all right? We're going to talk a little bit more about longevity, because longevity is one of those topics where we're going to have to explore periodically. It appears, and, you know, I'm just doing videos here. I do read my sources and everything, but I don't feel like editing and trying to make an academic argument or a thesis paper out of this. It appears that our genetic programming is for a natural lifespan somewhere around 120 years. Now, we could be off on that. We tend to underestimate these things, just like we used to talk about cavemen being dumb brutes with no skills and everything, and then you figure stuff out, and you figure stuff out, and you figure stuff out, and we know more, we knew more, you know. It looks like our genetic programming is for a natural lifespan of at least 120 years. It could be more like 140, and we just don't get it. And that's insane to most people. It's insane to think about in a context of human civilization, because we're so far from that. It's just, it seems unimaginable. It seems crazy. It seems weird, right? It's way out there. But that's what it looks like. And there are reports from history of people saying, yeah, we live to be 100. Yeah, our people live to be 120. Yeah, our people are 6'5", 6'6", you know, and you get this, and we treat it as mythological. We especially treat it as mythological when it's stuff like Ethiopians, you know. When the Ethiopians first were encountering the Egyptians, the Ethiopians were tall and strong, and all they eat is boiled meat, right? They don't eat dirt. That's what they considered agriculture, eating dirt, you know. But they're Ethiopian. And whether you like it or not, there is still a structural bias and bigotry in Western anthropology, archaeology, history, tradition, that's just as bad as Chinese archaeology, anthropology, and tradition, or anyone else's. There's a bigotry in there that people who look and are significantly different with totally different social backgrounds that you can't really wrap your head around have to be lesser. Okay, this isn't exclusive to the West. The Chinese are just as bad. The Koreans are just. I have Korean step family. Believe me, they are worse than. Yeah, they're bad. Japanese do this. Everybody does this. All right. The Western Asians do this too. But if you think about it, if you look at the reports and you take them at any kind of value, anything except pure made-up mythology, people were taller, stronger, and lived longer with a proper, ancestrally appropriate human diet and activity and stress level, okay? So, if you look, there was that guy, that painter, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, I do have him in my notes, who traveled with Native Americans, various tribes and stuff, in the early 1800s, before all of the reservations out west, right? And these people were meat eaters who were almost ate no plants, who were hunters, who were warriors, who traveled, nomads, and they were all 6 feet tall, 6 foot plus, with broad shoulders and bright white straight teeth, and everything was fantastic. You know, if you made it through childhood. I mean, child mortality is a thing, and there's some really weird concepts around how we treat each other in civilization. But if you made it, if you became an adult, you were just tall, strong, healthy. And this is one of the areas where we get that whole noble savage thing from, is this guy's paintings. And, we ignore those reports. They're not part of our cultural history. They're not part of our educational history. They're not part of what you learn in school. We don't talk about that because settlement agriculture defends itself, in a sense. The state, the idea of the state and civilization, defends itself. So, longevity-wise, it looks like we're programmed for a longer life than we traditionally live in modern society. And that's a good thing. That means that you can look at the absolute basic of healthy life extension from a point of view of diet, stress, and movement, exercise, outdoorsness, body mechanics. People like that word exercise, and I don't like that word exercise. Exercise is something you do, not some way that you live. And then we talk about an active lifestyle, but what we mean by that is getting out of your chair once in a while to move around a little bit. Not living with constant intermittent motion and sprints and stuff, You have to decide for yourself what the evidence looks like in terms of diet. I have not seen any reports of populations, not individual sages, populations that live really long, healthy lives that don't involve a large amount of animal nutrition. I'm just going to put that out there. Now, your internal ecology, you are an organism of organisms, you are an environment for many organisms. Your body, the environment, will have different ways of processing different inputs. So, microbiome. So, if you have the right microbiome, you might do very well with having rice. Some of that will be epigenetic, but we all have tons of genes that can be expressed in different ways. But a lot of it's going to come down to what's living inside you, what the organisms are. So, maybe some goods from rice. It doesn't look like large amounts of glutens are anything except inflammatory. So, animal-based nutrition is a really big thing here. It seems to be a really big thing in this space of natural longevity. And, you may or may not like that. We've been programmed against that for a couple of generations now. It's... When I was a child, so early 70s, eat bacon and eggs and meat and stuff was still a big deal. And then the low fat and cut the fat off your steak and all that came in when I was in school and elementary school. And, we're talking about a couple generations, more than a couple I'm Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and whatever's after Gen Z, the people now who are being raised as meat is actually bad for you, even in the face of mounting evidence to the contrary. You have to make your own decision on this, but if you want to look at it in some form of historical, quote-unquote, objective sense, it looks like animal-based nutrition and a natural, active, outdoors lifestyle, at least large amounts of it, and stress levels are the key to a natural longevity. Once you have that natural longevity, then we can look at life extension technologies. But the technologies have to work with our natural systems, not in place of our natural systems. I think that's one of the keys. So, do you want to live to be 120, and do you want to be healthy for that time? Do you want to have the bones and body of a 50-year-old when you're 75, 80? Well, it looks like the best thing to do is stress, control the stress, keep active, keep really active, keep outdoors enough, stay away from manufactured air, get out, don't live in a HEPA filter. Especially a dirty filter, HVAC, and control your stress. These seem to be really big deals, and civilization seems to have really eroded both quality of diet, quality of life, and quality of stress. So that's my longevity talk for the week, probably. We'll see how it goes. Stay sideways.